what is your competitive advantage? You said, I'm going to serve this client. This is where I want to go on my bottlenecks. Now I know what I'm going to be good at and what I'm not going to be good at. And based on that, I'm going to be really, really good doing something. So what's your competitive advantage? And why having a competitive advantage is important? People said, hey, Daniel, I want to go to a star, my North Star. And I was, great. What's your rocket and your rocket fuel? Well, I'm going to run really fast. You can never get to a star just running. You need to have a rocket fuel. So if you want to dominate an industry, you have to have something that is unique in the industry for you to be able to get there. If you do everything like your competitors, how are you going to expect different results? So usually when you understand what are the complaints of the industry you're going to fix, you're going to solve, then you're going to say, okay, I'm going to solve that. And this is how I'm going to solve it, right? And that's going to be your competitive advantage. And by the way, then you're going to name it. So once you know your strategy, you have to name it. What is IKEA name of their strategy? You want to have great design cheap? It's going to be in a box. You're going to have to pick it in a box and you have to assemble it yourself. That's who we are, right? Southwest Airlines. You're going to be in front of the plane and you're going to fight to get in your seat. You have to be able to name it like that. You're going to have to be able to give it, not necessarily the name that your client know, but everyone in your industry and your team will know. As an example, Southwest Airlines. You know what's their strategy? Wheels up. If the wheels are on the air, they're making money. If the wheels of the plane are on the tarmac, they're losing money. Do whatever you need to do to have more percent of the day, the wheels on the air. And by the way, the wheels of Southwest Airlines planes, as an average, are 2 hours more than the industry in the air. Way more profitable per plane, right? So you understand what's your advantage, and then you name it. So let me go to this as an example. This is my chair. Imagine I put this chair in a box. What percentage of the box is air of this chair? If I put this chair in a box like here, what percentage of the box is air? Probably 70%, 60%. The other 30 or 40 is the chair. So IKEA says, we don't transport air, we don't warehouse air. So if you want a chair, it's going to be unassembled in a small box. So we're going to have less cost of transport, less cost of transportation, warehouse, and everything, but you're going to have to assemble it yourself. So what's the strategy? How you name it, you assemble it. That's part of who they are. And that's why they're own the industry. Connecting a little bit of the strategy and the constraint. Vern always tells me, Daniel, where are you going to be in the next 10 to 25 years? What are you going to do this quarter? Everything else in the middle, it's an idea, it's a strategy, but it's not going to get you there. I don't want you to get distracted. I want you to tell me what you're going to do this quarter. What's the constraint, the priority, the focus that you're going to fix this quarter? And indeed, we were talking about this yesterday. Now things are moving so fast that some companies are saying, hey, 12 weeks or 13 weeks of a quarter, it's too long. I'm going to do a sprint of 8 weeks or 10 weeks. And they're trying to figure out how to do more sprints and break the year instead of 4 quarters to do it in 8 quarters or whatever is a shorter time that they could have their team dedicated and focus more in shorter time. And by the way, when you talk about constraints, if you look for theory of constraints, this is the best book to understand constraints. It's called The Goal. And by the way, Vern says, before reading Scaling Up, you have to read The Goal. It's really, 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 really important strategy. He said, understand where you want to go and what is the constraint you're going to liberate today. And usually, when you go to talk about constraints, you usually have constraints of cost or money, time, and scope or technology, systems, processes, people, whatever, right? Those are usually your constraints. So the typical thing, people said, I want something to be cheap, good, and great service. You can't do that, right? I want great quality, great price, great service. That's not going to happen. If you get high quality, it's going to be high cost, right? If you want great service, it's going to be high cost. So usually you have to understand your strategy in a triangle. And I'll do this to close the conversation. So usually you do a triangle like this. You have price, quality, and service. So where are you going to be? If you said, hey, I'm Southwest Airlines, what's more important? Price is really important. And then service, quality not necessarily. By the way, there's no negotiables that your plane cannot go down, right? That's a no-negotiable. Above from that, then they said, our planes are sometimes older, our seats a little bit older, but you're going to get the best price. Then you get something like United that said, hey, supposedly our planes are the best planes, and we're going to give you good service, not necessarily price. And then each airline or each competitor will choose where they want to be. Usually the winners are in the corners. So you have to be really, really good in one and have a secondary that you're aligning, but usually not a third one. The ones that want to be in the middle are usually gone. So whenever you decide where you want to go and you're constrained, you're going to be able to identify what corner are you at. And that's why I kind of cross this, because usually you're going to choose one to be your top. You're going to choose a second one to be your second option. And then a third, you're just going to disregard completely. If you want to be great quality, great service, great price, you're done. You're completely off market because someone's going to be better than you in each of these corners, and they will attract the clients for those corners. These are kind of strategic questions of how to get your company to a next level and really be able to scale long term. So as an example, when I told you I have 57,000 companies, I know who those 57,000 are. Am I not going to serve anyone else? No. If they come and buy, I will sell to them. But I'm not going to spend $1 in marketing to try to sell to them. I'm not going to do any effort or any strategy to serve anyone else that is not in my 57,000. But if they come and they say, I want to learn from you or grow with you, perfect, we'll serve you. Whenever I talk with someone for the first time, someone said, hey, Daniel, we saw you on social media and we're seeing your videos, want to work with you guys. Let's get into a phone call. Great. One of the first questions that I ask is, what are you reading? If the CEO said, well, the last book I read was the Bible like 7 years ago, I know it's not going to be my client, right? If someone says, well, I'm reading this, and then I'm reading this, and by the way, this is the next book that I'm reading, and I'm so excited about learning, we're going to have a great relationship because we build learning organizations. And usually starts with the head of the company being a lifelong learner. If the head of the company is not a lifelong learner, it's impossible for me to drive a learning organization. So that's my 7%. As an example, there's 3 types of entrepreneurs. Mountain climbers, that they want to grow, they want to scale. The second type is what they call freedom fighters, and they want freedom. They want a business that is easy, operatable, that gives them the food and the revenue they want and be able to have freedom in their life and take 2 months vacation on the rest. And the third one is what we call craftspeople, or the ones that want mastery. At the Growth Institute, who do we serve? Mountain climbers. That's our main thing, right? Second one is freedom fighters. We don't serve the craftspeople. Tell me what course that we have about a great product, quality. We have no course on that. We have a lot of courses on how to grow, and we have a lot of courses on how to reduce drama to allow you to have more freedom, not in craftspeople. Like Steve Jobs will never train with me.